Good morning, Galimera. Good afternoon, Galispera. Good evening, Galovrade. No matter where in the world you might be, thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. It's a new week. It's a blank canvas. Let's paint pictures. Let's tell stories. The gang is back. Let's roll.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Boys and girls, welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. It's a brand new week. Joining me is my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Bop! At ease, squaddies. Let's get into it.
Kev, how was your weekend?
Busy. It was busy, but I've got to say, Soph, I had a wonderful Sunday. I was grafting at Sky.
Very good.
For the first time ever on the Sky Soccer Sunday, they made us cover 2 games. So I was covering the Arsenal game at Chelsea straight off, and then I covered the Southampton-Newcastle game after that. So it was good. I was on with Dean Ashton and Leanne Sanderson, and we all had an absolute ball, bar Leanne, who's a Man United fan.
Well done. Good evening. Well done, Unai. Well done. Congratulations on your first game. And if you're an Arsenal fan, you must have loved that. That was amazing. Seeing that. That was pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. Good evening to all the usual suspects in the house. May I say and start off that Matty K, among other Arsenal fans, Kev, sent me many a video, all right, of the Xhaka video, as did you. And because of YouTube rules, I can't play any of them.
That's
Okay.
right.
So what I'm going to do is post them to Twitter afterwards because they're quite brilliant. And Matty K actually went the extra mile, did some editing of his own. I'm just saying, he's not going to get hired by Steven Spielberg anytime soon, but it was absolutely epic. And the Gooners were having a lot of fun with a certain player, and we're going to get to that eventually. So just wanted to say hello to everyone. We got Magic in the house, Nigel, James. We've got Tammy, our chief like officer. Tammy, you need to email me your address so you can get your Zenith coin. Okay, the Squad at gmail.com. And your book. Right. We got Ian. Ian, welcome to the show. You enjoyed Super Kev on Sky Sports. We love that. Don One, Daniel, 33 Fivers, Suraj. Anyway, I could go through all of you. There's already almost 200 of you in live chat. Thank you so much for joining. Yes, Super Kev.
Has anyone seen Danny D?
I have to clip that bit. That is where I should be prepared and should be ready for the Jason Cundy. Has anybody seen Danny D?
Danny D! Exactly.
Oh, Kev, where is Danny D? I mean, I did block him, but he comes back in. He's got lots of pseudo names. He makes his way in here whenever he can.
Can't keep away, can he? He can't away.
He's not here today, though. He's not here today. So, and I'm sure our squaddies are pretty happy about that. Danny, yes, go on. Get stuck in. Gooner Russ in the house as well.
Danny's a bug. He's a Toby jug bug.
He's going to be asking for his cup of tea soon from Jen, bless her. Went to the game with Lee Judges, our mate, the other day. And by the way, look what we have, Kev. Ooh, look who's got his Zenith coin right here.
He's got his Zenith coin out, hasn't he? Love that.
Look at
like that, Mr. Judges. Very proud owner of it, by the way, let me tell you. Very proud owner.
And thank you to Ian Bruce, who sent a picture of his Zenith coin on his sun deck right here,
Thanks,
tanning,
Ian.
Kev.
Thank you, Ian. Look at I tell you what. Hey, Mark.
Got Mark.
Love it with the authenticity certificate as well.
We got
Absolutely brilliant.
this guy with the kids. They love it.
He didn't win that, did he?
No, he didn't. He didn't win it.
Love it.
He didn't.
Love it.
But here's the good news, Kev, before we get stuck into some Arsenal talk. 200 plus of you in live chat. It's the holiday season. We all know it's kicking in. I know some people are like, Soph, stop talking about the holidays. It's here. I mean, in the US, it's 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. And before you know it, shipping will be like through the roof. You've got to get your gifts in now. And we've got a very special promo for you in show tonight. Okay. And 90 minutes plus 3 minutes of added time after the show, Kev. Our good friends at Zenith are giving us 30% off. Okay. So you got to go to zenithcoins.com. The link is in the description. Get your coin, gift yourself, or gift someone that you love. Look how gorgeous that is. I'll show it to you one more time. Zenith Coins, the gift that keeps on giving right here. 30% off. Go get it. Everyone who's got their coin so far, I've got more pictures to share with you in the week of everyone who's loving their coin and absolutely just adores
Top guys.
this piece. Is
Top
great.
company. Love to work with good people. And they're some of the best people around, I tell you, Gooners. So if you can, go and get it early.
Absolutely. Go grab it. It's a special promotion during the show and 90 minutes plus 3 minutes of added time. I asked for the 3 minutes because I thought that was the right thing to do. Super Kev, let's get stuck into this. We beat Chelsea 1-0. This guy gets the goal. And we'll get to him eventually, right? This guy returned, which was a wonderful sight. And let's get stuck into it from the very, very beginning. Before I get into the top 5 talking points, a very quick analysis from you in terms of, in fact, let me give you the first talking point because it will go into your analysis. I said on Twitter over the weekend, personally, I haven't enjoyed a game as much as I did this one. I felt like it was our most complete game of the season, front to back. Am I talking out of my behind, or do you agree with me?
I agree, actually. I agree to a point. I agree that as an attacking force, we weren't quite as dangerous as we usually are or could be. But we are playing against a Chelsea side who are very experienced. They're a very good side, and you look at their players, man for man, they've got a lot more experience. But if I'm honest with you, Soph, I thought we bossed the game and dominated from start to finish. It was as comfortable a game as I've seen Arsenal play in 15 years. If I'm honest with you, that was against a big 6 side, especially at their gaff. From Ramsdale, who I think he had 1 shot all game, which was like a back pass. So he could have had the deck chair out and
He could have gone to high tea.
You know, he could have been doing all sorts. From Ben White across that back 4, across the midfield 3, and across the front 3, we were just superior to Chelsea. And it's not many times we can say that, Sophie. It's not many times we can say that. We were totally superior to them. You expect to flourish from Chelsea, really, don't you? You expect them to be on top, and we didn't see it. We did not see it. And you know what? I'm not going to give them the credit that they were bad. No. Because nobody gives Arsenal the credit. Everyone keeps saying how bad Chelsea were. No, Arsenal dominated. When you go to Stamford Bridge, usually they give you a hard time. We made sure they could not even get into the game. Remember what happened with them against Manchester United? They adjusted and the game then became a bit of a stalemate. No. This was total domination. Whatever they tried, Soph, we had them. And you know what? What I would have liked, 1-0 was being kind to Chelsea.
Yeah.
1-0 was being kind. We had good chances. We had some great opportunities. We didn't quite take them. But you know what? I'll take Gabriel coming up with the winner in front of the Gooners. I'll take that one, Soph. Total domination. Mikel Arteta gets it spot on the day. Even with the substitutions, we come on. We don't even skip a beat, Soph. I love that. Love it.
I loved it too. And I want to get rid of this one right away because I don't want this to be the focus of our conversation tonight. And I'm not a petty person, Kev. You know me, I wish everyone well and all that jazz. But there was something, especially after our chat with Jason Cundy. By the way, if you missed that show, people are still enjoying it. Thank you to 20,000 of you who have watched that video just alone on our YouTube channel with Super Kevin Jason Cundy. It was brilliant last week. It's still relevant today. You could see the fear in Cundy's eyes.
Scared.
Super Kev.
He was scared. He had to say a draw. He had to because he couldn't go against Chelsea.
No,
but we done him. We give it to him.
It was great. And look, I don't know if he's had his skin graft yet, but can I just say that this was glorious? Absolutely. Look, I wish him well. But in this game, as Aaron Ramsdale said, we are the Arsenal. They're Arsenal players. For 90 plus minutes, they did not. Gabriel, absolutely savage afterwards, saying nothing personal. London is red. I love his savageness all the way across, Kev. There was something quite absolutely glorious. Mikel must have enjoyed it too, going from the good times to the difficult times and then eliminating, if only Eric Ten Hag had the same balls as Mikel did to remove the star player from the scenario, maybe Manchester United would be in better stead, but we don't mind that either. Talk to me real quick. 6 touches in the whole game, perhaps, totally nullified him. Saliba, we'll get to him as well. But just the Oba overall, it was quite delicious, was it not?
Well, I don't know about delicious.
Oh,
If I'm honest with yourself, if I'm really honest with you, I'm not bothered about Aubameyang. Yeah, when he was at Arsenal, fine, but I'm not.
I'm not bothered about him either, but I just
I want to
love
concentrate on our players. The fact of the matter is, Soph, he didn't get a kick. And even Saliba in the second half had a missed kick at the back. I don't know if you remember. He had a missed kick at the back. And Aubameyang was on it in the box. And then Saliba, just to give Saliba something to do, Soph. That's how bad it got. And then soon after that, they dragged him. Look, Arsenal was so dominant. Arsenal was so dominant. Aubameyang wasn't even. Was he there?
But no, I didn't even know if Giles posted something about Jorginho, and I'm like, honestly, I wasn't trying to be smart. I was like, is he playing?
Yeah. But that is exactly it, Soph. You know, we could talk about Aubameyang and this one and that. It was just one team. It was one team on the day. And it was Arsenal. It was a matter of time when Arsenal scored, not if Arsenal scored. You know, 8 touches. Doesn't that say it all, Soph?
Yeah,
8 touches.
Great.
8
really,
touches.
really.
No, didn't even look at Ramsdale. Them 2 boys at the back, especially Saliba, there's no change. Whichever side you went, you're getting no change. Probably the best place for Aubameyang was to sit down.
Do you know, I love the saltiness. I love the saltiness, right? There was a challenge on, what was the challenge in Townsend?
Ben White on the line. Aubameyang caught him on the line.
And they were like, no, the Martinelli challenge that, and Genus was saying, well, you know, he's just gone for the ball or whatever it is.
Well,
but he was
that Aspiraqueta one.
Right. Yes, right. And Townsend here was also saying, oh, you know, that's not a foul. That's not a foul. The saltiness of a lot of these pundits and media, we've talked about it a lot, Kev. It is so juicy. And
Yeah, but he's got blue underpants on as well, hasn't he? Don't worry about
that. Well, they both do. They both. Well, one has lily white and the other one has blue. But
blue underpants on, so don't worry about all that.
All right. So, talking point number one, our most complete performance. I think we both agree on that. So let's get to talking point number two on this Monday Madness, Super Kev. Team news came out, a player that we have missed, although Tomiyasu's deputized well, as, let's be fair, Kieran Tierney has too. Talk me through this, take me beyond the white lines about the difference that Zinny brings. I mean, forget his energy. He had his old teammate in his back pocket, Sterling, having a torrid time at Chelsea, by the way. Talk to me about Zinchenko and what the value that he brings and the difference that you see in this particular game as well, but overall, Kev.
Well, we talk about dominance. When we go to away grounds, you know, we've seen it for years. We haven't dominated teams. We've had good performances, but we haven't dominated. We haven't dominated the ball. When we lose the ball, we haven't won the ball back so quick and then kept it. He just adds that calmness because he's so comfortable going into midfield and sitting beside Thomas Partey in the midfield, which then releases Granit Xhaka further up the pitch. So no matter what Chelsea done, as soon as the ball popped out, we were back on it. We were getting the ball recycling and keeping the ball moving. And technically, he is very, very good. He is very good. So, again, Partey's not... He's comfortable giving him the ball in traffic because he can handle it. And it makes a big difference. You see the way we play. It makes a big difference to us because we can control the game. We can control the tempo of the game. We can control when and how we attack. The point of attack changes because he's so comfortable in the midfield. So it makes a hell of a difference to us. And I'm not saying Zinchenko's a Kieran Tierney because they're two different players. But you see the domination we have and the control. That's what Mikel Arteta wants. He wants the control that the opposition do not even get a sniff. That's the difference, Soph. The opposition do not even get a sniff of your goal. And as long as we win and the opposition don't get a sniff, we're in business. And we were in business on Sunday.
We certainly were in business. You know how we've discussed a lot about Xhaka is so much better with Partey beside him, but we've also talked about how Xhaka is just better because of the role that Mikel has him playing now. We've also said that Partey is so much better when he's with Xhaka. The guys on ESPN FC, believe it or not, Sophie Nicolaou said they are quite the pair, maybe one of the best in the Premier League right now. Craig Burley waxing lyrical about the Arsenal, Kev.
And he's got blue underpants. So what's going on?
One's got a different shade of red. The other one's got blue. And with Zinchenko, though, Kev, the two of them, exactly what you've just said, it just goes to a different level, doesn't it? With the way Mikel wants to play, he's literally almost playing like a midfielder. He's playing that inverted role. But to see when we talk about, Tomiyasu can play that, yes, they can. But over a period of games, over a period of time, you need your specialists in the team playing their positions. And he adds a totally different level to the control and the dominance in the midfield. And that is just a massive difference, as well as Tommy's done, as well as Tierney's done. This is fifth gear Arsenal in terms of tactics and approach and how we want to play the game.
If we'd have won that 2-3-0, nobody could argue yesterday. Nobody could argue. Because we were so dominant. We had the chances. We didn't quite, find our shooting boots, but we were all over. We were all over Chelsea. But in a controlled manner. That's what I loved about it. That's why I reckon that was our best performance of the season. Because we've seen us go for teams and then we've slipped back and made life difficult for ourselves. But the whole game, we controlled it. And you know what? Even Xhaka in stopping the ball, him and Chalobah, and then a melee going on in front of all the Arsenal fans. They still couldn't get out, Soph. They still couldn't get a grip in the game. And I just thought it was a superb performance. But Zinchenko really helps with that. He really, really does. When Kieran Tierney does it or Tomiyasu does it, it's a fullback playing in there. When Zinchenko does it, it's a midfielder playing in midfield. That's the difference. So he's a lot more comfortable being in there, being in the traffic, reading things that's popping out. So, yeah, we're a better team. We're a better team, and we're a better control team with Zinchenko in it. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I agree with this comment too from Crucial. Chelsea played away at home. We did that to them. And I've seen, and I went and listened to a couple of Chelsea shows as well, and they admitted that, and if you look at this though, Kev, right, I wanted to put this stat up for everybody, not stat, but these results. Arsenal's record against Chelsea in the last few games. It's, 2-4, 0-2, 0-1, 3-1, 2-1. Last 3 games at Stamford Bridge, we have beaten them. And I don't want to hear it's like Graham Potter's he's been there a month. We've lauded their players like Mount. We've lauded the Jorginhos of the world. Thiago Silva said that they've got 2 world-class goalkeepers. I mean, we just made them. Is it fair to say it was a 1-0 thrashing? If that's
possible. It's a 1-0 demolition job.
Yeah.
Listen, we made Chelsea, with all the quality that they have, look ordinary. Let's be honest. They look like an ordinary side. And they have got some really good players. I am not taking that away from Chelsea because they are talented. They are talented. But we made them look.
Yeah, exactly.
Ordinary.
Black Falcon. Did Mount play? Did any of them play? We made them look very ordinary, very average. We dominated every facet of the pitch. It was like we've talked about playing in units, but having rhythm in those units, everyone understanding their job. So we talked about most complete. We've talked about Zinny. Here's where I want to get to next, because I'm going to say something that some of you may or may disagree with me. I don't think we win these kinds of games without Gabriel Jesus, whether he scores or not. And my good friend James Johnston, and I would do anything for love, sent me these stats, Kev, from The Athletic, okay? Because I've often thrown it out there that he's the best pressing forward in Europe right now, let alone in the Premier League, okay? This is the top 10, whatever you want to call it, forward players in terms of interceptions. Jesus, numero uno at the top. These are the most fouled attacking players. Look at that. Jesus. And by the way, we'll get to what Mikel Arteta said about Saka. I'm glad that he put that out there because it's important that as a manager, he starts pulling the Sir Alex Ferguson card a little bit, and how Pep and Klopp have done that in the past. And I'm not saying that he's those managers by any stretch of the imagination, but putting pressure on the officials to start taking care of our star players is going to be key. Look at this stat as well, Kev. And then when you look at the most successful tackles, Jesus at the top once again. There are a lot of fans out there who are worried, and I totally understand and I totally get it. But without him playing the way he does, we do not win games. I don't care if he doesn't score, if he plays the way he plays and we win and other players score, it's 3 points on the board. If it leads to us going back into the Champions League, if it leads to us playing for the Premier League title, which we don't know how that's going to go after the World Cup, Super Kev. You take me beyond the white lines again. You're a striker. You've played with some of the best. You've played in massive games. It is tough to play the role that he does. Yes, there are times we want him in the box instead of playing further up the pitch. But again, I will say, we do not win these games without Gabriel Jesus, period. Your take.
Full stop. We don't. And he makes us a better team. You see the work that he does, and you see the commitment that he has to actually getting us up the pitch. holding the ball up and being dynamic at the top end of the pitch, winning free kicks, getting the ball and beating players in the midfield, ferreting back like we saw Lacazette do last season, but Lacazette didn't have the energy to get back up the pitch. This guy has it. He's on the left, he's on the right, he's through the middle. He's not your... Here's the thing we've got to understand. Gabriel Jesus is not your conventional number 9. He is not. So, in our head, we want our number 9 in the box and we want him doing this and we want him doing that. Of course we do, because that's what we're used to. He is not your conventional number 9, because at times we've seen him go wide, pick the ball up, play 1-2s and get into the box. He's Brazilian. He's got that Brazilian flair. He's got that Brazilian love of the game. And he's making Saka and Martinelli better players. He's making Odegaard a better player. He's making Xhaka a better player. Why? Because they've got somebody as a focal point who can beat people. He can hold the ball. He's smart enough. He knows when to lay off, when to dribble. The only thing that's really lacking in his game, Sophie, is the goals. But it's not hurting us. It's not hurting us. It's actually helping us because we're sharing the goals out. As long as we win, I'm fine. Because I know how hard it is to play that lone striker. It's hard, man. Trust me, it's hard. Because if you stay up the top of the pitch, we lose in the build-up.
Exactly.
And if we lose in the build-up, we don't get up the pitch. So he realizes, I've got to come deep and help the team out. And that's what he does. And in the end, we end up, and you know what? We keep the ball and we dominate teams. There's a reason, listen, squaddies, there's a reason why we're top of the league. There's a reason.
Kev, I love that. All like absolutely 100% agree with you. And a lot of, by the way, 540 of you in live chat this fine Monday evening.
Tammy!
Don't upset Super Kev. You know how it goes.
250. We need 250.
We've got the assistant chief like officers in the house as well. Suraj, Gooners loves to deputize sometimes as well.
Lovely.
Hit it, lick it, love it, kiss it, cuddle it, give it some. If you love where the Arsenal are at right now. All right. So, Kev, the other thing too is the unselfishness. So for a long time, we have had very selfish players in this team. I heard you earlier on Dan's show talking to Lee Gunner, and they talked about Odegaard, right? And I wanted you to go in a little bit on them. You let them get away with it maybe a little bit, Super Kev.
Oh, no. It's because it's their opinion.
Okay.
Just one thing I won't do is try and change somebody's opinion. Because if they have an opinion on a player, hey, that's their opinion, not mine.
Yeah. I would have gone in 2-footed studs up on that, right? But you're not that kind, so you're a gentleman. I couldn't believe my ears when I was hearing them comparing, like Ozil would have put his shoulder down and put his foot. Stop, please. With the comparisons of Ozil, do you think that we win that game with Ozil, with Mustafi, with Sokratis, with Kolasinac? Do you really, truly think that? And I'm sick and tired of this. Once again, Gabriel's great this week. He wasn't a few weeks ago, right? We're all entitled to our opinion. But this insistence that Odegaard is not a good player or doesn't offer the team or goes and disappears in games. Look, a lot of players disappear in games. A lot of players play a lot of football. But if you guys think that this, who I've labeled the Holy Trinity, okay, who are fundamental to how we function as a team, you add Zinchenko in there, of course, but these three, and in particular Odegaard, we've talked about how he works in the shadows. I'm not having it anymore, Kev. When will people understand what he does? And when you see Vieira come in and play, it's not the same. Talk me through Odegaard once again so the people at the back can hear what he does for this team and why he's important. The dude does not stop working. He's not your flash pizzazz player, but when he is, he's beautiful to watch. This is about function. This is about players that fit into how Arteta wants to play.
You answered the question. You answered it. You just said it there. The functionality of Odegaard to keep us ticking over and to keep the ball moving is vital. A continuity player, we call it. Someone who can get it, give it, get it back, get it, give it. And you think he's not having a good game, Soph. But the fact of the matter is he's keeping the ball moving and ticking over so the team start to move, control the ebb and the flow of the game. Yeah, sometimes. Can he be a bit more decisive? Who can't?
100%.
100%. But again, Soph, we're top of the league for a reason. And the reason being top of the league is we have a team that functions as a unit. And Odegaard is a key component in that unit. He's a key cog. Not only on the ball, but like I said, Sophie, you've said it just before. He works so hard. It's off the ball. We said it for probably a couple of seasons, 3-4 seasons. We are not good without the ball before. Now, we are so much better without the ball. Why? Because we know exactly what we're doing and the boys are willing to work and graft to get the job done. So, yeah, he's not going to score 15, 20 goals a season. We don't need him to. What we need him to be that continuity player that helps the team function properly. And right now, look where we are. We are functioning properly. So
this other note, Kev, 600 plus of you in live chat right now as well. Thanks so much for joining me in Super Kevin Campbell. James, this argument here is ridiculous because you know why? And I'm sorry, it's not ridiculous. Your opinion isn't ridiculous, but the idea of this is kind of ridiculous in the sense that Dennis Bergkamp was the most substituted player. Correct me if I'm wrong, squaddies, because they're the statisticians on the show, right? An absolute legend of the club. And I don't like comparing these players to, you know, our legends because they're legends for a reason. But when they came to the club, they were not, right? This team has a blank canvas to create whatever they want under this manager. It may work out, it may not. But what we see now is we see a team that functions as a team. Dennis Bergkamp was subbed all the time, a lot by Wenger. Didn't hurt him, did it? So this idea about Odegaard, if you get 70 minutes of quality out of him, who cares if he's subbed for 20 and we go on to win the game? Kev, I don't understand
Let me answer that. James asked a question because maybe he doesn't know why he subbed. Why Odegaard is subbed a lot of the time is because the dynamic of the game changes late on. When the dynamic of the game changes late on, especially if we're winning, you tend to see we kind of hold what we've got with the function of we're going to catch teams on the break. So what tends to happen is players with a bit of speed come on, and because we're expecting to be attacked, and then we could counterattack. And Odegaard, one thing he's not blessed with is speed. So I think that's why he comes off, which, and listen, is understandable. The key is we've got to get ourselves in, we've got to get our noses in front. And that's what happened yesterday. And this is what we done. We kind of changed it up. We even brought Holding on just to make sure. Probably didn't need to do that, but we done it to make sure because we were so dominant. That's all.
James, I'm not shooting you by any stretch. And I love that you brought this up because it's an important question and an important discussion for us to have. I just think that sometimes, and look, I do it all the time. I've done it. I compare players to players. And sometimes I just think that in a new era, in a new dimension, it's very hard for us not to do that. And it's really hard to not compare to the greatness that we've had. I mean, look, I went out on a limb on whose show was it? Lee Judge's show about a year ago, and I said that Benjamin White will have a better career than Harry Maguire at the time. Now, some people will say, well, that's not hard to do. That wasn't the Harry Maguire that we've seen. It was the Harry Maguire of the Euros, one that was lauded by the media and all those things. And I've said those things. And I've also said that Gabriel and Saliba and Kevin, I've talked about how they remind us of like Vidic and Ferdinand. Now, that's not to say we're saying that they are those players yet. So I totally get where you're coming from and what you're saying. And Bergkamp was having a torrid time before he came to Arsenal. Pires didn't have an easy time. Henry didn't have an easy time. Bergkamp didn't have an easy time when they first arrived at the club, Kev. Would you say that's fair, right? You become legends after a period of time.
Listen, to become a legend, you have to prove yourself time and time again. That's the name of the game. These guys are just starting, as you said, they've got a blank canvas. We're starting to see these guys now come to the fore. I tell you what, squaddies, if we could do something and imagine we win the title. Are they legends then? Of course they are. Of course they're legends. But that's what the focus is. People are going to say, oh, Arsenal can't do this, Arsenal can't do that. What done us last season was two things. Was the start, we were playing catch up. We had to play catch up for so long. And obviously after the international break, we lost 3 games. Then we won a few. And then when it really mattered with 3-4 games to go, we fluffed our lines, didn't we? But if we'd had a better start, who's to know what we could have done? So who's to know what we could have done? Now we've got the start right. What can we do? For me, I think it's massive for us to go into the World Cup break top of the league. I love that for Gooners to bask in it for a little bit more, right? Get the boys training. It will be sweet because you know what? We've led the league virtually all season. So, and every hurdle, bar one, we've gotten over.
And Kev, if it wasn't for that penalty for City, look, I'm not here to, we guys, we all benefit from decisions and not, right, Kev?
We've seen them given and we've seen them not given. It is what it is at the end of the day. You just knew something was going to happen. It was soft, but there was contact. So, listen,
exactly.
Again, Sophie, I want it to come down to Arsenal versus Man City. That's what I want it to come down to.
We're going to play. We've got that game that has to be rescheduled, and we've got the other game as well.
Exactly. That's what I want it to come down to, Soph. I want our fate to be in the hands of those 2 games. That's what I want.
Would you like to play them right now, this weekend? Would you like to play them right now? Because I think
I'd like to play them. I'd like to play them anytime, but we're not playing them. So whether I like it or not is irrelevant. When we play them, I want it to be for all the chips. You know what I mean? Whoever wins that game, either we extend the lead or they, peg us back or go top or whatever. Let it be for all the chips. So it's been a long time since we've been in this position. And I want all the feelings because this Arsenal team, I believe, can earn it.
There are a lot of fans that wrote to me, mates of mine, over the weekend. And, even some pundits are now saying that Arsenal fans need to start believing, right? And I think that we've got such PTSD from falling off the cliff, at certain points once the final act of the season kicks in, that it's hard for us to give ourselves permission to think that we can. But I mean, if it works for Ted Lasso, Super Kev, if it works for Richmond FC, why can't it work for Arsenal? Now, I joke a little bit, but I love this sign because belief is everything. And a couple of the guys over at Sky Sports wrote to me as well, and they were like, remember a couple of weeks ago, I said to you, you get that sense that this team really believes that they can win the Premier League. As a player, talk me through that when you go from having a good start to the season to things kicking in, and then you start thinking, hello, we've got a shot here. It feels like they believe, Kev.
Well, they should, because they've put the work in. They crossed the white line and they're getting the results. Because whether we like it or not, Sophie, the business is about results and challenges. And this Arsenal side have risen to all of the challenges, not always come out on top this season, that's for sure. But in 13 games, Arsenal have proven to be the best team. Why wouldn't they believe? Do you understand what I mean? Why wouldn't they believe? They look around. They've got 2 new players there now in Jesus and Zinchenko who know exactly what to do. They know exactly what to do. Thomas Partey in the midfield, he's won league. He's won league. He's been in Champions League finals. We've got players there who are experienced, although we've got a young core. What is coming out from the inside and what is actually going on the inside is 2 different things, Soph. You're going to get the narrative of one game at a time. Of course you are. But when you're a player on the inside and you beat Spurs and you beat Liverpool and you go to Stamford Bridge and you beat them, you perform well at Old Trafford, but you don't get the points for whatever reason. Do you know what? And you go to a Crystal Palace and then you go to a Brentford and, you know, you some of them hurdles that you slipped up on previously, you're getting through, you're getting over. You're looking around the dressing room and you're thinking to yourself, I could go to war with these guys. And it culminates in this weekend at Stamford Bridge, Sophie. Everybody was saying to me, I can't see Arsenal winning. I'm like, why not? It's Stamford Bridge, isn't it? It's blah, blah, blah. I said, we'll see. We'll see. I got asked on Talk Sport about a combined 11. I said I wouldn't have any Chelsea player in my 11.
There's a few Arsenal fans that have asked you about that in the chat, Kev.
Yeah,
I don't think...
I want. What I'm not saying, you see, Sophie, is when the whole of Chelsea squad is fit, it's a different story. But we're talking about right now. I wouldn't have any of them in the Arsenal. And that game yesterday proved it. Proved it. Better from 1 to 16. We were. Much better. Much the better team. So, again, you know, some people could say, Kev, you're crazy. I'm not crazy. I know this Arsenal side have got something. How far it's going to take us this season, Sophie, I don't know. But do you know what? I believe they can do it.
Kev, this question is coming thick and fast. Bro Pro and many, many others are saying it reminds them a little of 89. You were a young lad. You were sitting in the away section. No, were you in the Kop? No, you were behind the goal where Thomas scored in 89. You and Hillier and a lot of the younger players watching that, part of that team, seeing Graham mastermind the game for everybody from start to finish. Smudger, Adams, Rocky, I mean, all of them, Pops. You're not on the inside in the dressing room for this, but you've been around the squad, you've covered the games. A lot of questions for you on similarities to 89. What's your vibe on that?
You can't. I don't think you could say the similarities to 89 right now. But again, that team were hungry. And I could see a hunger in these players now. I could see a real hunger in them. The key to everything sometimes, Sophie, is your squad depth. That's the key to everything, because if anybody has forgotten about 89, Arsenal went up to, I think it was Middlesbrough, and won 1-0, and Martin Hayes got his only goal of the season.
Another underrated player, by the way.
Another underrated player, much maligned by the fans. But if Hazy didn't score that winner, 89 doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So,
Gunnar Russell tell this lot as well about Hayes and those kinds of players.
So my point is this, Sophie. Certain players are going to have to emerge and come up trumps for us. If we're going to believe in what we're doing, and we're going to believe, right, we can do something here, some other players in the squad, it might even be Emile Smith-Rowe. Now, we haven't seen Smith-Rowe because he's been out injured. He might be the catalyst in the second half of the season. Bang. He comes in and he starts doing it.
You get a lot of these as well about Smith-Rowe, Kev.
Yeah. Smith-Rowe's been out injured, but we need a lift. He might be a catalyst for the second half of the season. We're going to need to see him do something. Possibly. But if you add a Smith-Rowe into the squad, all of a sudden we're getting a bit stronger, aren't we? So the squad starts to get a little bit stronger. I still think we need 2 or 3 in January, but whether that happens or not, I don't know. But what we're going to have to maximize it, because this lot up here that wear blue, they're stacked.
Yeah, they're stacked. And they've got the experience. They've been there many times. But it's, I think one of the things that has impressed me the most about our start to the season is from our collapse to the end of last season. And it was a collapse. We did have the opportunity to qualify for Champions League. We did not. We did have the opportunity to buy players in January. We did not. Now, I commend the owners for standing by Mikel and supporting Mikel. I was in the camp of, is this going to work? There were quite a few of us. Look at what's happening right now with Manchester United. A lot of Man United fans, we're almost becoming the blueprint for patience. Chelsea fans, some of them want Potter out already. The guys here on NBC Premier League were saying, hold the Mayo. The dude's only been there a month. Look at what happened at Arsenal. And who would have thunk it that Arsenal Football Club now are a blueprint for other clubs to have that patience, Kev? Like the owner support, the hierarchy support, getting the manager the players that he wants so he can build a team in his image. And that's the mega difference for us in terms of our collapse from last season to this season, the mental attitude, which I think is why you're getting questions about 89, is that, that team, the Invincibles, the mental part of it was so huge, to kind of overcome Liverpool coming at you a little bit after you're winning, to overcome Tottenham coming at you after you take a lead, to overcome scoring an own goal and then going and banging one back in right after, to overcome making a mistake and letting Mitrovic, score a goal, but then you yourself come back and score one, to overcome like all of these hurdles mentally after the collapse last season. I think that may be why some fans are starting to think, why not us?
Yeah. Hey, you're damn right, why not us? But here's the thing, you see, Soph, and here's the great thing. The bigger picture says we should be better after the World Cup. We should be.
Why do you say that, Kev?
Because this team is the first time they're all playing together. They get a break. So when they resume, realistically, they should get better, because all the teething problems and understanding people's games and all that, so that should all be done. We should get better as a team. We shouldn't get any worse. We should get better. We should become more efficient. We should become a lot tougher. We should be a lot better at the back as well. Why? Because everybody knows each other's game now, and the permutations of who can play where, whether it's Tomiyasu, right back, left back, whether it's Ben White, right back, whether it's Kieran Tierney, left back. Everybody's played together. So, in theory, we should be better. Because, do you know what, Sophie? And this is what many people won't talk about. We have so much room for growth in the squad. This isn't the finished article. This has just been put together. The growth for the squad is huge. And I expect us to get better, not sit where we are or get worse. I expect us to get better.
Kev, I know you've been asked this question a lot on TalkSport and Sky Sports and on other shows as well. And you and I did a show and we clipped it many times. And you said the downfall to us maybe not getting a Champions League spot last season would be not investing in January. You know, bang, there goes Thomas Partey. Bang, there goes Tierney. Bang, there goes Tomiyasu. And like a few of our listeners are saying, we are 2 or 3 injuries away. We could be 1 injury away. Take Thomas Partey out of the team or take Saliba out of the team. It's a very, very different team.
We're not the same yet.
And this is the difference between Manchester United. It's plug and play for them, isn't it? And for us, it's, you know, you can, you know, Rob Holding's plugs might be really good, but the way he plays is not a Saliba. It's not a Gabriel.
It's a drop-off.
Are we going to learn our lesson from last season? Because I've backed the owners over the last 2 seasons because we've seen, you know, a lot of. I wonder what a lot of fans think of Benjamin White now after saying 50 million down the drain. You know, Ramsdale, I think he's got some growth to do, but goalkeepers mature as they get older. Tomiyasu's been a revelation. You know, maybe Nuno is on loan now and doing quite well at Marseille. He's having a decent loan spell. Lokonga, I don't think he's been as bad as a lot of, you know, fans think. But Zinchenko, Jesus, game changers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think our club will learn from what they didn't do in January? Now we're in this commanding position.
I don't know about learn, Soph. Here's one thing I will say. You wanted players, I wanted players. They didn't get the players in. I think there's a real focus on getting the right players in. And if they're not available, Sophie, they are not going to do it. They want the right players because that dressing room is sacred now. I'm telling you, you could see the way all the boys are together. You make the wrong signing in there and it's problems. So they are not going to just, because the fans want it, they are not going to do the knee-jerk thing. They are not. They've got a really good dressing room. You could see the togetherness. You could see everybody's playing for each other. Everybody gets on with each other. Do we need some players, Sophie? 100%. Because you know what that will do? That would raise the level again. Everybody would kick on. But one thing I've learned about this regime, if the right player is not available, they are not just going to get a plug to plug a gap. They're not going to do it. They would rather take a chance on, okay, let's say Saliba goes down injured. They'd much rather put Ben White back in centre half and then put Tomiyasu there than go and get a centre half or somebody in who might not fit the dressing room, who's, you know, not going to adapt to the way they do things. Yeah, I think it's very important.
This is why when I was listening to the show today, when the question came up and Ivan Toney, no bueno, in my opinion, for exactly the reasons you said. And I said, Arsenal's criteria now has changed. If you don't meet the characteristics as a player, the character as a player, the personality, you will not be signed for this club. The standards are here, and everyone has wanted those standards to go here for a number of years now. And, you know, there's been stories about Ivan Toney in the press in the last week. We've seen a little bit of his arrogance, you know, and some will call it banter. He comes across as one of those arrogant players. And for me, I don't think, will he fit in as a player at clubs? Yeah, he's a good player. but does he fit into the new culture and the DNA and profile of what this new Arsenal, this 2.0 Arsenal is? I don't think so.
I think he
And
would.
really,
Yeah, I do. Because let me tell you
I
something, Sophie.
I don't see it.
Well, let me tell you something. Let me give you a little bit of understanding. The Ian Wright that was at Crystal Palace, a lot of people said wouldn't fit in at Arsenal. And he fit in seamlessly. Because
Who said that? Who was the idiot that said that?
no, there's many people said he hasn't got the personality to fit in. He's a good player, but being at the Arsenal is a different level. Ivan Toney, if he was to come to Arsenal, he wouldn't be he wouldn't be the same Ivan Toney that he is at Brentford. No chance.
I mean,
club's too big.
Let us know, you guys, if you agree or disagree. Some are saying like they'd rather Mitrovic than Tony. Me too. I would go down that road, right?
Hey, listen, whichever one you. My point is this, Soph. The player you see at Brentford or a Fulham, etc., that player has to adapt and change to fit in at the Arsenal. That's my point.
Right. There's a reason why we didn't sign Bissouma, though.
I'm going to be me. And I'm sorry.
There's a reason we didn't sign Bissouma, right? Because he's a good player, but why didn't we sign him?
I don't know.
Arsenal fan as well.
I don't know. I don't know why we didn't sign him. But Spurs put the money down. I don't know why. But that doesn't say that Bissouma has an attitude that wouldn't fit in. My point is, when a player comes and joins Arsenal, usually they fit in with the culture. That's what happened with us. And with this dressing room right now, the dressing room is sacred, Sophie. You've seen what Mikel Arteta's had to do to clean it up. He's had to get big earners out, big personalities, big egos, people saying he can't manage it. No, he's just not going to have the people in the dressing room who are going to absolutely stink it up. That's what he's not going to do. So if an Ivan Toney, obviously, if they went for talks and they spoke to him and they didn't get the right vibe, I can guarantee you they would not sign him. Because that dressing room is all important.
Kev, you've been, and by the way, we're going to stay on a little bit longer than the hour mark because this is too good to let go right now. And there's 800 plus of you in live chat. Zidane it, that like button. And get your questions in. I'll try and mark them as quickly as possible for Super Kev. All right, you guys. He's going to stay on longer and he's going to answer your questions, and I'll just zip it for a little bit so you guys can ask him some stuff as well. Don't forget as well, right now, you guys, we've got a special promo going with Zenith Coins, 30% off if you're looking for a gift for a fellow Gooner. If you just love gifting yourself because you deserve it, nothing like self-love, and you'll love this forever and ever and ever. Comes with a certificate of authenticity. Use code HS30. All right, HS30, and you get your 30% off. The link is in the bio, and I will add the link in the chat as well. 830 plus of you right now. Chief Like Officer Tammy tallying the numbers for us, Super Kev. It's a busy one tonight. All right. We're on this subject. So Arteta did get rid of the Guendouzi's of the world, right? He got rid of Aubameyang. I think Lacazette was a totally different deal that was based on football, not on personality or character issues. You've been in the dressing room as a captain as well at mega moments for Everton. And, you were the captain when one of the greatest escapes ever, West Brom, playing for the legend that is Brian Robson. How different is it when someone comes into the dressing room, Kev, and you, not only as a captain, but even when you weren't, you could just sense, it's trouble here. What?
It's funny.
What does that?
No, it's funny. So the manager don't bring players in. They don't. Clubs don't bring players in who are going to upset the apple cart. Because you think about it, if you know what type of dressing room you've got, and you're going to bring somebody in who can upset that. I mean, listen, when you're down at the bottom, so much more so that you need to have the right attitude with the players because you're taking so many hits, Sophie. You go a game and you lose a game. You go another game, you lose a game. You've got to brush it off very quickly. You can't be having somebody in the dressing room who's going to cause problems. What you've got to do, you've got to dust yourself down and get prepared for the next game as fast as possible. So signing players who have a problem or are selfish, managers are not going to sign them. You tend to find that happen at the top end where he's a bit of a maverick and, he's got a bit of an attitude and all this kind of thing. Down the bottom of the league, you ain't signing players like that because they're just going to upset the apple cart, full stop. So, again, being at Arsenal, certain players who George Graham brought, even if it never worked out, they succumbed to that dressing room because the culture was so strong.
So you players wouldn't accept it either. That's the difference.
No way. Because you see, it's the senior players who polices the dressing room. So you imagine even if you've got that inkling in you, Sophie, that you could be a bit lively. When you get into the dressing room and you see the experienced players and you see how the culture is, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb the moment you start going against everybody else in the dressing room. The key is for everybody to focus. And Arsenal, as we've seen, has been up and down and being pulled from pillar to post. It's been all over the place. All of a sudden now, everybody's moving in the right direction. So you are not going to be signing anybody or taking a risk on anybody who could potentially mess that up. No chance.
Okay. I will start getting to your questions. A lot of you asking about the World Cup, and we'll ask Kev. I'll try and encapsulate that one for him. Before we do that, Saliba, just wrapping up on the game, man of the match, Saliba, Kev, another fundamentally important player. The spine, a lot of our listeners are saying, is Saliba, it's Partey, it's Jesus at the front. Everyone else kind of fits in around them. They're all, of course, very important. This guy has been absolutely insane. My favorite picture of the weekend, including this one. But this one says it all, I think, about Arteta, who's asked Benjamin White to adapt. You talk about those players, Kev, who just come in, who have had to face adversity. This guy in particular has had to face adversity. Do you agree? Was he your man of the match? For a lot of our listeners as well, it was Partey. What's your take?
Look, I think it could have been Partey, could have been Saliba, could have been Partey. Xhaka had a really good game as well, I thought. Jesus was excellent without scoring. And Ramsdale for sunbathing or in the rain. Look, Saliba, there was one move, I don't know if anybody saw it, where Broha came on. And Broha was running the channel. And Saliba stepped up to catch him offside. The ball got played in the channel, and Saliba still beat him into the channel to the ball. And he was offside. That don't happen. That type of play doesn't happen much, Sophie. It doesn't. I just went, wow. The guy's immense. He's young. He's talented. He's such a good footballer. He's composed. He makes us a better team with his presence, just being there. He's big. He's strong. He's physical. But he plays so smooth. And I can't knock that one. You know, Thomas Partey was exceptional, as I said again, but yeah, Saliba. What can we say anything more? Can we say anything more about himself? What more can we say about him? He's just been superb. He's taken us to another level.
Completely. And he is the future. And hopefully he will sign. 10 more likes to hit 400 this evening, you guys. Thank you so much for your kindness and for hanging out and having really good conversations in the chat. We love our community. No one has had to be ejected this evening, as they would say in American sports, or sent off in good old-fashioned English way. Right, Kev, a lot of fans are a little bit worried mentally because we know how important it is to Brazilian players. Thanks to every single one of you who sent in this question. Are you worried about Gabriel's mental kind of attitude in terms of, to me, I think he's so beastly. As a Brazilian player, he's going to be crushed and disappointed, of course. Every player wants to go and play for their country at the World Cup, but Brazilian players especially want to do that. Martinelli and Jesus have made the squad. Unfortunately, he has not. What's your take on how that might affect him? And is there enough time for him to get over it?
It's not affecting him at all. It's not affecting him at all. Disappointed, yeah. He would love to be in the squad, of course. But he's still a young player. He's still got a lot of time. He's got probably two, 3 World Cups in him. If we're honest, Soph, if he plays to that standard. But I think he's got a real big job to do at the Arsenal. He's the aggressor in our back four. We need him to be ready. And I'm gutted that he's not going. But on the other hand, I'm pleased that he's not going, because the more players we have who can get their training in, who can get their feet up and get rested and make a real assault on the second half of the season, I think it's going to be really important for us.
Listen, Kev, from a selfish point of view, I would like every single Arsenal player to have their feet up, go to, I think, they're heading that way into that part of the world for some, behind closed doors games. Mikel's talked about how he wants to make sure that we stay on our toes. It's important for the players who are going to be staying behind. We have quite a few players going to the World Cup. Doesn't mean all of them will be starting every single game. I think, of course, Xhaka, Partey, and Saka will be the ones that will probably play the most games. But I'm Sostradamus here, just looking into my crystal football, Kev. I don't know the answers to all of that. But I think that, we wish all of our players who are going well, and we want them to come back, fighting fit. So let's get to some questions here. Kev will answer as many as he possibly can. Boy says, would you rather have Jesus and Odegaard or Jesus and another striker? Curious question.
Jesus and Odegaard.
Simple. Avon says, which Chelsea players could have started? He answered this, Kev, just to reiterate, you said none, correct?
None, thank you. No, thanks.
Would you call us the blueprint or Liverpool when they got in Klopp? Granted, Klopp had way more experience. It's a similar pattern here in terms of patience, isn't there, Kev? When Klopp took over, Liverpool weren't exactly in the best position in the Premier League.
All blueprints are not the same. How Liverpool do things and how Arsenal have done things have been different. But one thing I will say is Jurgen Klopp, what many people didn't realise, Jurgen Klopp changed the whole squad by, 1 or 2 players. He gutted it. Mm-hmm. That's what has to happen, because if the ones that are there can't do what you want want them to do when you cross the white line, they've got to go, Soph. That's the blueprint. I know it's a t-shirt, Soph. It's the players. It is. It is always the players. Always.
He knows. He's played the game. I mean, I talk about it. I couldn't make it. Tried. I was too small. Then Messi came along. What can I say? I was too soon for the small people, Kev. Stephen Foot, He's the reason why you squaddies are called squaddies. Is World Cup injuries in January window vital? I think Kev's kind of answered that, but yes, of course, right, Kev?
Well, World Cup, we don't want injuries. That's one thing. We can't afford the injuries. Manchester City, if they got a couple of injuries and we got a couple of injuries, they're going to handle it a lot better than we are, aren't they? So we can do without World Cup injuries. And if we can strengthen in January, get a Smith Rowe back fit, strengthen in Jan, then it gives us even a better chance.
Yeah. And by the way, there are a lot of questions about Liverpool for sale. We're not going to talk about that today, but they're not selling the club. They're looking for investment in the club, which I think, the headline's a little bit misleading, but who knows, Kev, maybe it will lead to that eventually. Who knows, but whatever. Kev, what positions, Yanto wants to know, would you be targeting for January?
A forward, a midfielder. Said it so many times. If we can get a striker, a bigger striker, I would look at that as well. But definitely a midfielder and a forward player.
All right. George wants a follow-up question. How did Wrighty change his attitude? Was it something he worked on, or was it the guidance from the players he had around him?
It's when he comes as soon as he came into the dressing room, came into the club, and see the culture. Culture at Arsenal's not the culture at Palace. It's different. The levels are different.
This one for last of them. Tielemans in January, Milinkovic, Savic in the summer. What's your take, Kev?
I'll tell you what, we could do with a couple of them Tielemans goals, couldn't we? Jesus.
Let's take both.
Yeah. Listen, again, if we could get Tielemans in January, get him. Get him. We need all the help we can get, guys.
Scored a cracker at the weekend.
Oh, God. The technique of it. Whoa.
That was a sweet goal. Very sweet.
And a couple from outside the box, Soph, which is, we've seen Partey score a couple of screamers, but somebody like Tielemans has that soft touch and technique that can make a massive difference to us from range.
Yeah. I would love it if we got 3 players in January, but let's see what happens. I love this question from Gooner Colt. Would you sell Xhaka at the peak of his value? Well, the peak of his value, you could argue, was after the Euros, after he made...
Peak of his value's gone.
I say, why would we want to sell Xhaka right now? And why would Xhaka want to leave Arsenal right now? Of course, if he wants to go back to Germany, that's on personal choice.
You just wanted me to say it, don't you? That's what you want me to do. You just want me to say it, don't you? Granit Xhaka is going nowhere, mate. Come on. He's one of the first names on the team sheet. And he's playing out of his skin. He is. He's playing out of his skin. Fair play to him. Good luck to him. And long may it continue. But the key is we need the squad. We need that squad. Neves will come in and be part of the squad.
Yeah, he's a good player. Listen, you don't change anything that isn't broken at the moment. You just don't, if you're winning on number 33 on the roulette wheel, you're not going to change playing number 33. You're going to keep rolling until, you've got to shift to another number. This one's an interesting one. If we can get Saliba to sign, how much do we sell him for? Wants to sign him, Kevin, then he wants to sell him, wants to know what the ROI is going to be.
Well, if we can't get Saliba to sign, yeah. Well, listen, we don't know. We don't know what people would pay. We don't know, but I wouldn't expect anything less than 100.
Yeah. It's got to be.
Centre half.
I like the question the way I read it, by the way. Sign him, then sell him.
I bet you do.
Gooner Gang wants to know, fun one just to throw in the mix. Kev, were you part of the Tuesday Club by 89?
Yes. But I was on loan. For a part of that second half of the season. And if you remember rightly, the 89 season went on quite a bit longer because of Hillsborough. So
here's one of your lads, or we don't know, could be a laddess. South London's finest, Kevin Soph. What's the one thing that's made you proud of this team so far? I'll go first. Mental attitude. I've been so beyond impressed. I kind of probably spoke my 5-minute question to Kev earlier, but the mental engagement after collapsing last season has been just absolutely one of the most proudest things, I think, that you got to give Arteta credit for that and the players credit for that as well. Kev?
For me, the consistency. The consistency has been lacking. We know that. One week we'd see the team do well. The next week we don't recognize the team. But the team have been very consistent. 13 games, 11 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. That's as consistent as you're going to get. And long may it continue, South London's finest be.
I like this question. Super Kev, signing 3 players in January or Saliba, Martinelli and Saka extend their contracts. Which one?
Extensions, please.
That was easy. Lynn, hi Lynn, another one who's a proud owner of the Zenith coin. And Trevor got his earlier as well. Well done, Trev. Kev, how does any manager at first know who will upset the dressing room? It's the same in business. No one knows until they settle in and you start opening up. What do you think about that?
That's not right. That's not true, because in football, what you tend to do, you go and speak to the people who's managed him, or the clubs he's been at. You do your homework. That's what you do. You do your homework. What type of guy is he? What's he like? You find out what's he like when things get tough. That's what you find out. Because in football, if I know how you act when things get tough, so when things are going good, I know how you act. But when things get tough, if you're good in the dressing room, you're smart, you're dedicated, he's one of us. We can take him.
Love it. Unapologetically Blue, who came in here backing up Cundy last week, says, why can't deluded Arsenal fans wait until May so we see the tears flow? Why wait till May? We're supporting our team now. And we've actually butchered them when they've been terrible. Right now, top of the league, 1 loss this season. Only, only conceded how many goals? 6 in 13? Clean sheets, actually, in 13 games. I think you have problems that you need to take care of at your club, mate. But thank you for popping in again. We like our competitors listening to the show. Super Kev, I have another one for you. A fun one. There's no way Kev's doing Strictly Come Dancing, period. It's not happening.
I'm not even answering this one. Nonsense.
Demsec wants to know, what's more important, player skill or attitude?
Attitude will beat skill. Player with skill without the attitude can be a waste.
You mean like Ozil? Did I say that out loud?
I mean like many. Many might have the skill, but they don't have the application.
That was a bit harsh, considering he's won a World Cup and other things. So, did I just say my name out loud? I never like to do that. Kev, Gunnosaurus, would an informal Alexis Sanchez be signed by Arteta today? I really like those kind of questions. Because of the attitude, Kev?
No, because of the age.
What if he was younger?
Well, if he was younger, then yeah.
All right, a couple more here. David Bigg says, Kev, do you think Arteta is going to be shrewd and use the World Cup for a summer training camp? Yes, I think he's talked about this.
That's already done. Yeah, that's already sorted.
That's a yes. Schrodingers, do you think the squad we have now can win the league, or does January come into play? I think that's an easy one.
Well, we need players, but right now we're proving to be top of the league, and if this team could stay fit, they've got a chance. But we know to win the league is a squad game. It really is.
Right. That is about it. I'm sorry I couldn't get all of your questions in. We have been live on air this fine Monday madness for 1 hour and 20 minutes. It has been absolutely epic. 800
How many likes?
Plus. I think we're over 400. Chief Like Officer Tammy, Assistant Like Officers, please give us the numbers. And by the way, as we're waiting for that, I loved, I think I showed this picture. I love this picture of Gabby. Talk about the right place at the right time. I love this picture. I was going to put it on when we were talking about Gabriel not making the World Cup squad, but he's going to be happy for all of his teammates, compatriots that are. Little golden Martinelli there. I love this picture, Kev. One of the things at the end of the game when Xhaka got involved, I actually thought he did that to time waste, not because he was looking to get carded this time. What did you think of Xhaka real quick at the end there when there was
I mentioned it. I mentioned it at the start that, you know, we were doing stuff to unsettle Chelsea. Chelsea were desperate. We were doing stuff to unsettle Chelsea. It's good. It's good. It's good game management. It really is. I loved it. I loved everything about it, to be honest.
We do the double, says Andy. We win the Premier League and Adams wins Strictly Come Dancing. I'm actually wearing black eyeliner under this, Newman. Xhaka, yes, the dark arts, a little bit better than he has in the past. I thought we managed the game brilliantly at the end, you guys, absolutely brilliantly. Right, please do not forget, for the next 90 minutes plus 3 added on, go get your Zenith coin, 30% off. If you check out the price with the 30% off, let me tell you something. It is brilliant for you to gift yourself or gift someone that you love and adore. They are the official license partner of our beloved Arsenal Football Club. Tammy, don't forget to send us your address so you can get your Highbury Squad coin. Keep those nominations coming in. At the end of this week, we will reveal another recipient of the Highbury Squad's coin, a certificate of authenticity, of course, signed by myself and Super Kevin Campbell. You'll have it forever and ever and ever. Another talented Gooners show is coming up, season 2. Kev, are you going to be anywhere on the telly this week or any shows you're doing that we need to let the squaddies know of?
I can't reveal.
Oh. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You know what, Demsec? We will. Yes, we are. It's a special promo during the show. I mean, this is just how life works sometimes, isn't it? But let me see what I can figure out for you. All right, there.
Stop
but that's how it rolls.
Demsec. You got it already. Unless you want another one.
Yeah, get another one and get 30% off. It's a great gift. I will be on Sky Sports News on Wednesday morning at 7:30 doing another round of Paper Talk. And Kev sounds like he's got something up his sleeve, but he's not going to reveal that for us just yet. So watch out on our community page and on our Twitter to see what he's up to. Aye, aye. Eh? Great show. Couldn't do it without you guys. You smashed it tonight. Absolutely love you and love all of the conversations in chat. There will be no live show tomorrow. Have something I'm taking care of that is very, very important. Some family stuff. So send good wishes our way. That will be lovely for sure. So we will be back live on Wednesday. Hence the bumper edition show this evening, Kev. We've thrown the chicken sink at the kids tonight.
The chicken sink is on the floor right now because we've chucked it in. So, Sophie, thanks for being the host with the most, as always. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. As always, squaddies. And you know what comes next. Look after yourselves. Love your loved ones. Be good. And at ease, squaddies. At ease.
It's effing unbelievable.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad. The Highbury Squad is powered by ZENITH Coins. Support the future, treasure the past. Official licence partner of the Arsenal Football Club. Follow @ZENITH Coins across all social platforms.